Hey, what's going on, everyone? Big here for Serpent X Tech. And before the Bitcoin conference, lightning hit right on my property, my house, and I lost a number of electronics. Currently working on getting that fixed, going through the insurance, going through the proper channels. However, this video, we want to try to see if we could get one of them working. We want to see if the devices themselves are still functioning. So that first device is going to be our FPGA miner. Here we have a new EVGA power supply, and it is the 850 GXC fully modular power supply. It is Gold Plus certified, 80 plus gold, and it's a pretty good power supply. It is ATX 3.0, which is kind of like not really needed for this FPGA build, but maybe if I get like a newer 5000 series GPU, I want to use this as a test bench, I can, because now I have the ATX 3.0 standard cable that I can also use. But it does give us additional PCIe by 6 SATA connections to whole 9 yards. Here's all the features that we get. It is PCIe 5.0 compliant, ATX 3.0 standard, as I mentioned. Talks about various specs, components, all that good stuff, characteristics, the efficiency curve, right, or whisper silent curve, and then additional metrics here. Also, these metrics will be on the power supply, but inside the box you obviously get the power supply, all the cables that you need, your tester, your 24-pin tester, and then your power cable and some Velcro zip ties. Now, this power supply is, EVGA has always been one of my favorites, right? We do have eco mode on here, our on and off switch, our connector, the metrics that I just mentioned. There you go, right there, either 100 to 240 volt, 10 to 5 amps, 60 to 50 hertz, your 3.3 volt rail, your 5 volt rail, your 12 volt rail, so on and so forth. Not going to really be pushing this power supply really hard with this particular FPGA build, but here are all the connectors and exactly what I need, right? So I need 2 of these to run the FPGA. I might utilize this third one to run a completely different device with some splitters, and then we have our 12 VH power connector that we can use. This power supply, though, is probably going to be utilized for my NAS, which, as you can see, is not here right now because I have to complete the insurance steps or what they want me to do. We'll address that in a different video. But we need all the SATA we can get, and this has all the SATA connections that I would need. So this power supply is going to be used to test and make sure that my FPGA and the rest of the components are working, and then we're going to use the same power supply to hopefully test out the AMD rig, but not in today's video. Right now, will this FPGA rig start working once I swap out the power supply? Let me get to work on that right now. Quick note to self, there's only one VGA connector that has a splitter like this, right? So these count as 2 6 pins, but because it's on one strand, I count that in your overall power, or at least of what you're drawing. Then we have our other CPU one here, and then these other VGA only have a single 6 pin on it. So just be mindful of that. So total, you're only going to have 4 VGA power connectors. One of them is going to be split. Then we have the CPU power plugged in, our motherboard power, and that should be all we need to get this particular system up and running. And matter of fact, let me show you what happens when we try to power it on. Alright, so I don't have my power button, I guess, died, and so I have to jump it with the good old-fashioned screwdriver. But if I turn off the light here, you can see that the FPGA is getting power. So you would think, you know, everything is a-okay. But when we try to jump it, do you see the fans move there for a split second? Just ever so slightly. When you try to jump it, the fan moved for a split second. I had the CPU fan, that fan, the 120mm fan from Thermal right, and that fan move, but it did not kick on. So I'm hoping that it's the power supply that is done and not the motherboard. Keyword hoping. Alright, everything on the power supply is plugged in, just kind of jankily set up there. We want to make sure that we're not getting power right now. We're not. The FPGA is not on. So let's flip the switch real quick. Alright, now we are getting power. Now let's try to jump it and see if, and pray and hopes it powers on. Oh yeah. Come back to me, baby. We got the blue light. FPGA is online. It's not plugged in though. We gotta plug it in. right here. There's a micro USB, so let me go ahead and shut it down. But that means the motherboard, CPU, and everything is working just fine. Alright, so it's going straight into the BIOS. It looks like it kept the date. It still knows the right date, and yes, you are always watching videos way after the fact, because I'm a very busy man. Not sure why it's so off kilter, but everything looks to be about right. Even the XMP profile, not seeing anything that really sticks out to me. So we're just gonna see if we can save and exit, but it does go straight to the UEFI for some reason, and we want it to go to the Linux boot screen, not the UEFI, and it just keeps going to straight UEFI. I'm gonna try to load up a boot menu, but the fact that the hardware response is good, whether or not it's all functioning, we have to just test and tune. I didn't want to turn this video into a review of this particular power supply, but do you find yourself getting power supplies if you're buying or building a computer in today's world in 2024, looking for the 12VH power cable support already built into the power supply, or are you still getting just your normal 8-pin or 6+2-pin PCIe from your power supplies? You know, this isn't a big boy, but 850 watt power supply from EVGA, the Supernova class, are one of my favorites, and I think it would do a very good job in my NAS once I get it back home and test every single component. But for right now, we're just going to wrap up the video there. The fact that it would power on with that power supply, but not power on with that crappy power supply, and that's the only reason why I was using it. It's one of my lesser power supplies. I just need it to work. I'll figure out the whole boot issue here in just a moment off camera. But let me know your thoughts about the whole situation, the lightning strike, the situation I'm dealing with, but also the power supply situation. Are you getting power supplies with ATX 3.0 or PCIe 5.0 standards built in, or are you still shopping for the normal? Hit me up in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, and have yourself a wonderful day.